Imagine this. You wake up at dawn, the weight of another day pressing against your chest. You scroll through your phone, endless reminders of what you should be doing. The workout you skipped, the project you postponed, the dreams you once called goals, but now whisper about only in the quietest hours of the night. You tell yourself, today will be different. But by noon, you're back in the same chair, the same cycle of distraction and guilt. You call it laziness. You curse your lack of discipline. But what if you're wrong? What if the problem isn't that you don't care, but that you care too much? Not about the right things, perhaps. Not about the things society handed you, the milestones you're supposed to chase, the version of success that looks impressive but feels hollow. But deep down, in the marrow of your being, you ache for something real. A life that doesn't just tick boxes, but means something. So why can't you move? It's not laziness. It's paralysis. The calm that sets in when the path ahead is so crowded with expectations, so devoid of personal truth, that your soul refuses to march blindly forward. Your inertia isn't a flaw. It's a rebellion. A silent protest against a world that demands you sprint toward a finish line you never chose. Think about it. When was the last time you felt alive? Not productive, not efficient, but alive. The kind of alive that makes time dissolve, where you're so immersed in what you're doing that the voice in your head goes quiet. That's not laziness. That's flow. That's purpose. So why does it feel so out of reach? Because somewhere along the way, you got lost. Not in the world, but in yourself. You absorbed 1,000 voices, parents, teachers, algorithms, telling you who to be, what to want, how to live. And now when you try to listen to your own voice, all you hear is static. This isn't a motivational speech. This is an intervention. You've been lied to, not by others, but by the stories you've swallowed whole. The myth that if you just try harder, the fog will lift, that discipline is the answer, even when you're running toward nothing, that the problem is you, your weak will, your broken focus. But what if the opposite is true? What if your exhaustion, your resistance isn't a sign of failure, but a clue? A clue that you're not lazy. You're just lost. And the only way out is to stop searching for motivation and start searching for meaning. You've been taught that productivity is virtue, that rest is sin, that if you just push harder, the resistance will fade. But what if the resistance isn't the enemy? What if it's the only honest part of you left? Carl Jung called it the shadow, the parts of ourselves we disown, the instincts we bury under shoulds. When you dismiss your exhaustion as laziness, you're not fighting weakness, you're fighting yourself. Your body isn't failing you, it's begging you to stop, to listen. Viktor Frankl, survivor of Auschwitz and founder of logotherapy, argued that humans don't suffer from a lack of efficiency, but a lack of meaning. Depression, he said, isn't always a chemical imbalance. Sometimes it's a soul imbalance. A life devoid of purpose will always feel heavy, no matter how many productivity hacks you stack against it. And yet, here you are, trapped in a paradox. You're told to find your passion, but the systems around you, schools, corporations, social media, reward conformity, not curiosity. You're handed a map, but the terrain has changed. The goals you chase were never yours to begin with. Nietzsche saw this coming. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe, he wrote. The modern tribe doesn't wield spears. It wields metrics, likes, promotions, the quiet, suffocating pressure to fit in. So you adapt, you contort yourself into shapes that earn approval. But the soul is not a machine. It doesn't respond to truth. And the truth is this: your apathy isn't a flaw. It's a symptom, a fever signaling an infection, not in you, but in the world you've been handed. A world that prizes output over aliveness, speed over depth, compliance over courage. The real question isn't, why can't I move? It's, why would I move towards something that doesn't move me? This isn't just about you. It's about a culture drowning in motion, but starved of meaning. Look around. Burnout is the new baseline. Anxiety is the norm. We've built a society that runs on distraction, where the average person checks their phone 144 times a day, not because they want to, but because the alternative is feeling. The alternative is confronting the void where purpose should be. Neurologically, we're wired to resist meaninglessness. The brain's default mode network, the part that activates when you're not focused on tasks, is where creativity, self-reflection, and deep problem-solving live. Yet we demonize daydreaming, stigmatize wasted time, and medicate the sadness that comes from living on autopilot. Cognitive scientists call this effort aversion, the brain's refusal to expend energy on goals it doesn't value. You mistake it for laziness, but it's actually efficiency. Your mind is conserving fuel for what matters. The tragedy? You've been taught to ignore what matters. Worse, we've pathologized the resistance. ADHD diagnoses skyrocket, not because brains are broken, but because classrooms and cubicles are. The modern world demands hyper-focus on the trivial, then calls you disordered when you can't comply. And the cost? A generation of people who can optimize their morning routine but can't answer what for. Who measure their worth in completed tasks but haven't felt genuine joy in years. Who scroll through endless feeds of other people's lives, wondering why theirs feels like a ghost town. This is the great irony. We're more connected than ever, yet more alone. More informed, yet more lost. We've mastered the art of doing, but forgotten the art of being. Your exhaustion isn't random. It's the inevitable result of a life spent climbing ladders, only to realize too late they're leaning against the wrong walls. But here's the secret no one tells you. The moment you stop blaming yourself, the real work begins. The way out isn't forward, it's inward. You've been conditioned to believe that discipline is the antidote to stagnation, but discipline without direction is tyranny. You don't need more willpower. You need better questions. Start here. What if your so-called laziness is actually wisdom? A refusal to participate in systems that drain you? The French philosopher Albert Camus wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." Your apathy might be the first honest rebellion of your life. So rebel, not with grand gestures, but with small, defiant acts of listening. When you feel resistance, don't bulldoze it, interrogate it. Ask, what am I avoiding if no one was watching? What did I love before the world told me to be practical? History's most transformative figures didn't succeed by grinding harder. They succeeded by digging deeper. Van Gogh painted not because it was efficient, but because it was inescapable. Frida Kahlo turned pain into art not through discipline, but through desperation. Your liberation begins when you stop chasing productivity and start chasing aliveness. Practical steps: 1. Stop shoulding on yourself. Every should is a borrowed expectation. Cross-examine them. 2. Embrace strategic quitting. Walk away from anything that doesn't make you feel more like you. 3. Follow the breadcrumbs of joy. What made you lose time as a child? Do that now, without justification. This isn't about finding motivation. It's about uncovering what's already there. Here's the secret they never taught you. You're not lost because you're broken. You're lost because you're waking up. The ache you feel, that's the friction between the life you were handed and the life you're meant to live. The exhaustion, that's your soul refusing to carry someone else's dream any longer. The Japanese concept of ikigai, your reason for being, isn't found in productivity journals or morning routines. It's found in the moments when time stops, when you forget to check your phone, when you're so immersed in doing that being takes care of itself. This is your invitation. Stop trying to be better. Start trying to be truer. The world will resist. It profits from your confusion. But every great awakening begins with a single, terrifying realization. You were never lazy. You were a compass needle, spinning wildly because you kept holding yourself to false norths. Now, you get to choose your own magnetic field. So stand still, breathe, and let the needle settle. Where it points, that's where your life begins.